whenever I was like, I want to do something, I told my parents, they were like, you shouldn't do that. They're like, why do you want to do chiropractic? Why don't you do medicine? And when I did chiropractic and did really well and I wanted to leave, they're like, why do you want to be a phony Tony Robbins? Why don't you stay in chiropractic? We don't have any data to support. I'm going to show you a couple of clips based on my experience with individuation. Now I'm going to show you a part of me that I really, I look back on now and I see him, before I did this level of work. So I could see the ego. I could see the desire to prove. I see it now from this perspective, but I see it with a smile because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for his courage and individuation. And this was right after my divorce. Right after my divorce, I started having kind of like a crisis of identity, as many people do with a divorce. And so I decided I wanted to do other things like what I'm doing right now. And then I introduced that concept to my parents, and here was their response to that.
Two things. I have lived longer than you. My investment in life, okay, that's whether it comes across like that or not. And I have experienced certain things that you still haven't. And you're still in the age that as you get, especially in the 40s and the 50s, things and perspective becomes a little bit different. You start looking backward. You're going to say, how did I spend my 30s on? What did I spend how did it disappear that decade?
Because to them it's crazy. They're and I reacted. I was warring with them.
Your fear is that I'm going to be 50 and 60 and look back and go, where did my 30 go?
Because I've lived those years.
Hold on one second. Hold on. Wait.
You will.
I'm telling you the reason why I'm doing this is so that I don't do that.
Okay.
This is precisely why I want to branch off. I want to do those things, because had I stayed the course of what I was doing, I would look back and go, what the hell did I do with my life?
Until I realized they're in retirement mode. They're in scarcity mode because they're in fear of lack. And so here I am in a position, 38 years old, young, youthful. I got my whole life ahead of me. I got a very successful clinic going on, but it's not as fulfilling for me as doing this. Of course they think this. Of course they're not happy about it.
It's your life and you're enjoying it.
Right.
I hope one day you don't regret.
How many times I've told you that and I'm saying in front of everyone, in front of camera, my best wish, one of my wishes about you is that 4 years down the road, I am attending one of your sold out audiences and you use me as an example that this guy told me to do this and I didn't do that, and that's why I'm here.
So first of all, when I look back at that, I totally see a dude that really wanted his parents' approval. How many of you guys could see that? How badly I wanted my parents' approval. I just needed their blessing in order to feel like I'm going the right way. And I really admire that kid for the balls to do what he did. And the cool part about it is in that moment, my dad implanted an idea, a vision for me. He said, I hope in 4 years' time that you basically can kind of prove me wrong. I hope I'm wrong, type of thing. So fast forward several years, and I am now, in a really, difficult place in my life. And I had just screwed up everything and my relationship broke down and I had moved back in with my parents. And I was at a low point and they were like, see, we told you so. And they offered to buy me a chiropractic clinic so that I can give up this crazy dream of teaching people. Because clearly, Nima, if you're teaching people, you can't get your life together and you're having these types of relationships, then you shouldn't be fit for teaching people. Ooh. He was hard. And it was one of those moments where I could go this way or this way. And so what I decided to do at that time was I was like, there is no way I'm ever going to give up on my dream. And I decided. Next day, I get an email, and I was at low point in my life at that time, but I get an email from this chiropractor from Europe who saw me speak at a chiropractic event when I was in Rome. And he said, you know, your message really inspired me, and we're doing an event next summer in Paris. And we would love it if you would come and speak to our group. And here's the other thing, you're going to be opening for John DeMartini. And I was like, are you kidding me? John DeMartini was my mentor. 5 years prior, I was in one of his events, and I go, John, in the next few years, someday I'm going to share the stage with you. He goes, I'm absolutely certain you will. And here I am. Literally, I get an email saying in 1 year time, can you do this? And this is how much it pays. In other words, I was going to get paid and flown to Paris. And it's like, would you do it? And I was like, absolutely, I will. So then I tell my parents, and then they're like, oh, Simin, we'll do a trip to Europe, and then we'll end it in Paris, and then we'll go to Nima's talk. Okay, cool. And by the way, this was exactly 4 years later. I go and do the talk, and I hire a team to film it and to create a video. And I promise you, like that video that you just saw, I didn't think my parents remembered anything. But check this out. As I was watching this, I was just giving so much gratitude to myself for having the courage to do it. Like what's different now, and at that time I didn't have this level of work even. It was like as I was just starting with shadow and inner child and everything, is that I can now look at that part of me and be like, thank you for individuating. I didn't know the word individuation at the time either. I didn't know, but I knew that I had to do it. I didn't know what the word was, but I knew that my survival depended on me doing it. That's why everybody's so miserable. That's why everybody feels purposeless. Everybody knows what their purpose is. It's just they haven't yet taken the steps to individuate to find it. But when you do individuate, you know exactly what your next move is. You know what you're curious about. You know what you want to learn. You know what gifts you have, and you give yourself, God forbid, give yourself permission to give those gifts in this one life that we have. Individuation. It all comes back to that. So I tell you this story because it's your story. And sometimes when you're breaking free from that cycle, there's this sense of angst and this sense of frustration and this sense of self-doubt that says, ooh, maybe I should go back to safety. And I just want to tell you that I'm really grateful that I stuck on the path. And how do we break the cycle? How do we individuate? We go to those painful moments and we just love the shit out of those.